Now we're sighting in with Shooting USA. The guns, the gear, and the information to get you on target.
Whew. You know, sometimes we get a little caught up shooting high-powered rifles and muzzle loaders at white-tailed deer, but a lot of you are probably like me and you started off shooting a pump-action shotgun just like this. In fact, this is my 870. I used to hunt the Illinois river bottoms with this when I was a kid, but I got to admit it's kind of a bear to shoot. So I've got some upgrades back at the office that are going to make it more enjoyable to shoot and a more accurate firearm to use in the field. Now, I've already field stripped the 870 down. Taking these shotguns apart is pretty simple. You just need to have the right tools for the job, including the needle nose pliers for taking the ring out of the front forend and have a screwdriver for taking off the buttstock. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is take out the recoil, and that help comes from the Blackhawk Spec Op stock. The Knox reduction system will take the thump out, and the pistol grip is going to help my accuracy. To install this, just take the screw in the back of the stock and line it up with the receiver. Use the provided tool to tighten the screw. Very simple. Okay, and with the pistol grip attached, I'm going to put the stock on now, and this is really simple. All you need to do is take the lever under the stock and pull it all the way out this way, and then you just slide it right up over the top of the pistol grip and it locks into place. And remember, the Blackhawk system has 6 different positions for your length of pull, and that's good because I'm a short-armed guy and I'm going to need all the help I can get. The new stock and the receiver fit flush, but even if there was a gap, you still do not need to put the Remington spacer back in the gun. With this new stock setup, it's not required. Okay, now we just need to attach the new forend. This is also part of the Blackhawk kit. It comes with the stock. All you need to do is slide the follower up into the new forend, and we're going to drop our ring back on top. And this is where you're going to need your needle nose pliers to help tighten down to finish. Okay, with our nut on, we're going to put the new forend on the 870. There's a couple steps going on here that I want to show you. This is also where we're going to put our bolt back into the gun. We do that by taking the base of the bolt and attaching it to the 2 rails of the forend. Drop the bolt on top. Now as we start to push this back into the chamber, there's a real trick here that you need to pay attention to. Reach up with your finger and there's indentions just on the inside right by the magazine tube. You have to push them in and you have to find the right path to get the bolt to line back up. Once you have it, it'll slide all the way back. And with that done, we're going to put our new barrel on. Now I've upgraded to a 20-inch long fully rifled barrel. This is going to allow me to be able to shoot sabot slugs, which is going to increase my distance and my accuracy. Now if you're wondering, yes, this barrel is a little beat up looking, it is used, but I checked the rifling and it still has plenty of life in it. All right, and with that increase in my distance, I'm going to increase my sight power also, and that's going to come from Weaver. This is a 4044 series 3-to-9 variable power scope. This is specific for slug gun deer hunters who shoot a 1-ounce load at 1,530 feet per second. That's a pretty common load for deer hunters. What they've done is set the reticle to be zeroed at 50 yards. The scope has 3 more positions below the reticle. The next position down is measured for 80 yards. The third, 115 yards. And the bottom mark is for shots at 155 yards. Plenty of distances from our Weaver scope. We're going to put our Weaver scope on by mounting it to the Weaver shotgun base. Now what this does is it mounts through the trigger group pins. So the pins that you originally took out when you dismantled the gun, you're going to replace those with these longer threaded screws. So the first step in putting the scope on is putting your trigger assembly back in the gun. And once we get our trigger assembly lined up, we're going to put our Weaver scope on. And we do this by putting the back of the base on the back side of the gun away from the chamber. And we line our holes up and then take your screws and push them through the trigger assembly and they'll line up with the base, and you're going to need a flathead screwdriver to tighten them down the rest of the way. Okay, and that's all the upgrades. Now she looks pretty, but can she dance? We'll have to head back to the field to find out. The advantage in the recoil is obvious. Just compare the original setup to our new Blackhawk stock. You can easily see how much more control I have with the Blackhawk Knox system. And one final touch, a claw sling. I would hate to go through all this trouble just to have the gun fall off my shoulder while dragging a deer across a field next year. Now with no worries of recoil, fully rifled barrel, and a slug purpose scope from Weaver, I guess the only thing that's gonna separate me from my trophy whitetail is, well, me. Pressure's on now.
Actually, Mike, I think the pressure is now on me since you just built a gun that requires you take more time off to hunt. Great. One thing to note, though, not all states approve of a pistol grip on a shotgun for hunting. Be sure and check your local game laws before you climb in your stand.